Welcome to Duke Champions.
Listen up. All you ever asked for is an opportunity. You got it today. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now?
Yeah! Come on with it, baby! Yeah!
And an uncontrolled outpouring of hip young people.
The sharp insight, Randall Cypher scheming chess moves all night. Alex Miley, big dumb animal raw, smashing hot takes through the studio door. Stats get funky, narratives get thrown through champions media, Buffalo Combat Zone. Buffalo Combat Zone. Be there, crowd chant, let's go Buffalo.
For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliot Apollo's, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Duke Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Duke Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Duke Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs.
All right. Hello, everybody. It is Monday. We are 1 week through free agency. We are 1 week closer to the draft. Got some Buffalo things to talk about, free agents, what we need to fill, and we're going to run a 7-round mock. Miley, how you doing today?
Doing great. It's March Madness week. Happy March Madness week to all who celebrates.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the best weekend in sports is coming up, not only for March Madness, but I also am a big college wrestling fan, and their NCAA championships is this weekend too. I got 4 TVs in the garage. They're going to be going on all weekend, Thursday through Sunday. As soon as I get home from work, TVs are on.
Can you give me a small synopsis of what you're expecting to see in the college wrestling world?
It's really Big Ten dominates. Penn State dominates. They've won every team national title since like 2010, besides 2. Their coach was the greatest collegiate wrestler ever, and then he became a coach, and he's now might go down as the greatest coach ever. And they have 8 out of the 10 weights. They have 8 1 seeds. Like they're just on another level. So they just kind of dominate and run through. And then there's a couple of like people that wrestled in New York that I recognize. There's even 2 kids that I wrestled when I was a kid that are in the tournament. So it's the kid from Western New York that went to Williamsville's there. So there's a couple like local area kids to root for too. That's just all around fun though. It's great.
I've got an MBS, Bill Carroll. He is a make college wrestling more available for everybody. He loves it. He's wrote about it, how much college wrestling should be more involved, which I tend to agree, to be honest with you.
The fact that there's not an SEC is kind of crazy. Like Florida's pretty big for wrestling, and there's nothing. Like I get it. It's more of like a Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey kind of really, especially Pennsylvania, New Jersey, they kind of really run it. But like California, Texas, Oklahoma, Florida, all these states are all pretty big in it. And the only SEC school, there's not an SEC conference. The only SEC schools, like for other sports that have wrestling programs, is Missouri and Oklahoma. And they just stay in the Big 12. It's really just the Big 12, the Big 10, and the ACC. There is no like Pac-12 or anything like that. And then there's like, you got your mid-majors, but those are like the 3, it's like a power 3, I guess. And then Big 10 runs all.
That's pretty wild. Random stat for the NFL draft coming up. Missouri's defensive tackle, Chris McClellan, he got pinned by ex-Buffalo Bills offensive lineman Jerry Ostrowski's kid. So when we were evaluating him, we were like, what do you think about Chris McClellan? He's like, well, my son pinned him in wrestling, so I don't know if I could put more of a day 3 grade on him because
it is funny. There is a kid that's wrestling D1 for New Hampshire that, like, when I was a junior and he was in 8th grade, he's playing football D1, not wrestling on it, but I wrestled him when he was in 8th grade. I was a junior and I pinned him too. So I wonder, like, if he ever makes his way through the draft process, I could be like, I pinned that kid.
Just DM him the second half, right? Remember when I pinned you?
Yeah.
All right. Well, other than obviously, I love talking about college wrestling because as Buffalo Bills fans and, McDermott embedded it into us as offensive linemen with wrestling backgrounds.
That's
100% believe
for offense and defensive linemen. I like if you're a skill position running back, wide receiver, defensive back, probably basketball, tight ends, because like the vertical and the athleticism. But for if you're playing another sport as a defensive offense or an offensive lineman, wrestling is definitely the strength, the balance, the quickness you need.
100%.
I like Tyler Linderbaum, I think was just talking about him and Tristan Wirfs apparently used to wrestle a bunch back in high school.
That's awesome.
And they're like arguably the best at their position.
100%. That's how it works. All right, let's dive into Bills free agents. Talk about the big signings with Bradley Chubb, CJ Gardner-Johnson. We got Geno Stone. Talk about how you feel as though the first week has gone in the whole spectrum, and then kind of go down into those big players that we ended up signing.
All right, so I'll start with the Bradley Chubb. I think the Bradley Chubb contract is the best contract that Brandon Beane has ever handed out in free agency. I think Bradley Chubb, I thought, was the second best edge rusher on the market, only behind Trey Hendrickson, and he got him for less money than Kwity Paye got. He got him for 3 years, $43 million. Yeah, it goes up to 52, but my thought is, if he ends up hitting that top cap number, that means he hit a bunch of incentives and he played really well. Like, yeah, right. I hope we end up paying him $52 million because that means he earned it. If not, it's really like a 2-year, $29 million contract. I think is there 21 or something in the 20s. I forgot the exact number, but like the cap hits like $6 million this year, 11 this year, and then the third year it's $20 million, but we can cut him and save $15 million if he's not worth it, and then a 6-year void. So it's like it's not bad against the cap. The only year he has a bigger number is 2 years down the line when the salary cap's going to boom from the TV deals, and 2 there's not a lot of dead cap there where we can cut him if he's not that good. So very low risk, but high reward. You really want to compare him to the edge rusher. Who got the most money on this besides Trey Hendricks? It was Jalen Phillips. They played together last year. Not only did Bradley Chubb outproduce him, he also got more attention. Offenses were more worried about Bradley Chubb coming off a torn ACL, and they were doubling him more. They were sending their attention towards Bradley Chubb, and Bradley Chubb still outproduced him. And yet Jalen Phillips got more than double his money. It's not like you can compare situations when they were in the exact same situation, and yet Bradley Chubb was the clear better player. And I thought once those contracts went out, I'm thinking, oh, we're going to have to pay Chubb like a 1-year, $20 million as like a prove it, stay healthy another year off the ACL, and then he's going to splash big next year. When we got him for that contract, I was in awe. I'm like, the fact that we were able to swing that, I thought was insanely impressive. I think that goes to show toward kind of like the culture we've built where people are willing to take less money to stay. Or like Connor McGovern even said, he's like, what's a couple mil for my happiness? I love being in Buffalo. I love competing. Yeah, he's like, he's probably thinking, yeah, I could have probably got $18 million a year to go to the Titans, but the Titans suck.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, they got.
He would have got paid more money, but I mean, cool. I mean, I'd love to live in Nashville, but that's just me personally. But as on the football field, you're not going to be winning many games. Instead, you already have your families in Buffalo. They've been here for a couple of years. They're used to it. Why pack them up and move to go to a worse team when, yeah, like you said, if I can't live off $52 million, then I got some issues. So, and right. It's also part of Brandon Beane. I'll credit to Sean McDermott too, but the culture they've brought and the winning, obviously Josh Allen is part of that. people are willing to take less money to stay. Dawson Knox got less money than Daniel Bellinger and Charlie Kolar.
Yeah.
And he signed his reworked contract after that. It wasn't like we got it before and then the market went up. The market had already went up with those two contracts, and Knox still took less. I thought that was also an elite contract. Bean was able to, I don't think there was a single contract that Bean took on that was Bean put out that was bad. Really, the only one I think that has any potential is DJ Moore. Like that one's got a lot of risk because maybe what he showed in Chicago last year is showed of decline. I think it's the situation. I think he's going to boom under us, but it could be him just declining and we give him a second. And that contract does have risk. Basically every other contract, it's like we got them under market value or we got them at market value where we can get out of it easily. And I just thought Bean overall really did a really good job with the contracts he handed out. Letting David Edwards walk for the $16 million. Yeah, we couldn't afford that. We'll pick up the 5th round comp pick next year to help us maybe move up in the draft or something. And then for the safety deals, I think that I like the CJ one a lot. Very risky though. It's very boomer bust. He's been on 5 teams or 7 years or whatever because he has locker room issues. And that can kind of just, I think after a year, teams are kind of just sick of it. So they move on. But we only really need him for a year. And then I think the Geno Stone one, I think is a bit overrated. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but he's just a backup. He's an upgrade over DeMar Hamlin. He's an upgrade over Taylor Rapp was last year. So I don't hate it that much, but I disagree with the people saying that us signing these two guys means safety is not a need in the draft. I think it's still a big need because I doubt either of those guys will be playing on the team next year. We still need to find a free safety for 2027. And my thought continues to stay the same. Fill in as many holes as possible so that next year we can afford to trade up into the draft where it looks like it's a much top heavier class, where there's a lot more top end talent, where in years past, it's like, oh, we can't really, like for Brian Thomas Jr., we couldn't really afford to give up the 2nd round pick that teams were asking for us to jump Jacksonville because we didn't have a 3rd. We just cut half of our defense. We had all these issues. If 2027, oh, you want our 2nd? Okay, here we go. And we can jump up. Like, because it's like, oh, we have all these needs filled in. We can afford to give up that 2nd round pick now. And I think that's why it's like, I still think linebackers top needs, wide receiver, safety, I still think's up there because I think those are the 3 positions where it's like, and edge, obviously, but I'm trying to go big fish hunting for edge next year, so I'm not really thinking about that much. I'm thinking linebacker and safety have 2 players in those current rooms that will be that are not free agents at the end of this year. Just Terrell Bernard and just Cole Bishop. Cole Bishop we have to extend, and the Bernard, if he can't stay healthy, we're probably going to want to try and get out of that contract as soon as possible. So I think that we need to definitely not fully look just towards 2027. Obviously, we're trying to win now, but I think we want to be able to draft guys to fill in. Maybe they won't be starters this year, and it might be annoying if we take Jacob Rodriguez to the top of the 2nd and he doesn't get any playing time this year. Some fans might be, oh, we took someone to sit. But at the same time, I'm fine with that because if he's not playing, that means the linebackers we have ahead of him, like I personally want to re-sign Shaq Thompson. We re-signed Shaq. He plays good enough for the year. It's like, all right, we didn't need Rodriguez. Now Shaq can walk. All right, now we get Jacob Rodriguez to come right in, a year of development, and I think he could really boom. And that's kind of how my thought process. We get a free safety day 2. They can sit behind Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Geno Stone. And then if CJ Gardner-Johnson has his issues and it blows off by week 8 and we have to cut him, it's like, all right, we can throw him in there if the rookie looks good, or we can, or like if there's an injury or whatever. And I think that those rooms, while they look better on paper, I think they still need to be addressed in the draft, especially if you're looking at 2027, because we need to start getting more starters on rookie deals in that coming year. Because if the cap booms, if we get more starters on rookie deals, then we can really afford to hand out that Trey Hendrickson contract. We could afford to hand out big contracts in free agency that we have been able to in years past because we've been so tight on the budget.
Right. I agree. I definitely agree. Especially so when we're talking about linebacker, first of all, we can look at the linebacker free agents because the linebacker is still available, especially people like Bobby Okereke is available too, right? Walter Payton, man of the year sort of thing. He's I think his value is about 11 million right now. Can you make that work? You can with two restructures, because as you can see in the cap space, we're low, but we haven't pulled that DJ Moore restructure, which is insane. We all assume that the 2028 guaranteed is because DJ Moore had to agree upon restructuring this year in the trade. So waiting to see that lever pull, then another pull. I would say I love the Bradley Chubb. I'm not going to say anything poor about it. I think it's great. 2 years removed from the ACL is big time. So I think we are going to get a good Bradley Chubb, especially somebody that wants to win, coming from Miami and, getting picked so high, going to the Dolphins, and then, having a couple of years of success and then dropping down, now coming to Buffalo, I think it's huge.
He's played one playoff game, I think.
Yeah, one play, exactly, right?
And his career. And it was his only career playoff game was in Buffalo.
Right, yeah.
And he had he had 2 sacks and 4 fumble.
Exactly.
He had a good game or whatever, because in Denver they didn't win anything. They traded Miami. Oh, maybe I'm going to start winning. Nope. In Buffalo, it's pretty safe to say that we're going to be a playoff team. It's pretty safe to say we'll make the division around, because we have the last 6 years. And so it's a much safer. He's pretty safe. Unless Josh Allen gets injured, we are going to be competing for a championship, which you can't really say about the last 2 places he was in.
100%. And then you have almost like the other side of the ball, which is incredible, is Gardner Johnson, who was a part of a Super Bowl winning team. But the first thing that he did was tweet out that picture of Josh Allen with grills on. And that's like
awesome.
And that's like the other spectrum, right? That's like, he's like, okay, like he's one of those guys that has full confidence in the offense, what the offense can do and what Josh Allen is. So he's got that veteran leadership to be like, we can win a Super Bowl. We have Josh Allen. And that's something that I think that new guys coming in kind of don't fully buy in until they see Josh Allen play. But when Gardner Johnson already knows how to win a Super Bowl coming into Buffalo, and he's like, all right, well, I got Josh Allen. Let's get this done thing. I think that's a big hype man for the defense that we truly do need, when there's been Terrell Bernard's the captain last year. He was injured for a while. Now you got somebody who's going to have run in his mouth like Josh Allen does on the offensive side. So I think everything coming together and being maybe having the wherewithal to accept the not so nice guy, I think is a good step in Beane's direction. In the split of McDermott and Beane sort of thing, he's like, all right, well, I'm going to go after these guys that McDermott might have said no on, but now we can work with them. I will say with Bradley Chubb, I am interested in how the process went with Bradley Chubb, because Bradley Chubb is kind of a pass rusher that we have been using under McDermott. And then the first acquisition is a similar style of edge rusher instead of maybe going somewhere a different type. I'm not opposed to it because the market was so expensive. I think Brandon Beane good job at navigating it. And I think maybe Bradley Chubb wasn't. I don't think Bradley Chubb was maybe their first option, but I think they strategically fell into their laps, and I think it was a good move. It's just interesting to see a similar style of pass rusher that we've been dealing with be the first pass rushing acquisition.
I think part of it is also because he hadn't been technically released yet. It's not like he can go talk to other teams. Sure. And I think maybe that's why Beane was fine with holding his eggs for the Trey Hendrickson basket, because he's like, we still have Bradley Chubb to fall on. And that's why you saw him pivot to Trey Hendrickson got signed. Literally within 15 minutes of Bradley Chubb getting officially released, there was the news we were signing him. We were on that. I think Beane was like, he saw these guys go and he's like, I can't hand out that money. We're too tight. I don't think they're that level of guys. If I'm gonna hand out that money, it's gonna be for Trey Hendrickson. He's like, I can sit and wait for Trey Hendrickson, because it's like, all right, if this doesn't work out, you still got Bradley Chubb. And I think that probably played a role in it. And then it worked out perfect because the market kind of thinned itself out. All these teams that needed pass rushers, they went and spent that big money. There we can come in and get Bradley Chubb at a discount. And I get the concern of, this is kind of the power rusher, not the speed with Ben type. But at the same time, he is able to do it with production. We haven't had anyone that's been able to produce with it. I mean, maybe Joey Bosa back in 2021, but the people that are comparing it to Joey Bosa, look at Joey Bosa from 2022 to 2024 in LA, and then look at Bradley Chubb in Miami. Bradley Chubb in Miami was a much more productive and much better player. And the injury concerns are a little blown out of proportion. And The last 4 seasons, Bradley Chubb has played 16 plus games in 3 of them. He's had 1 injury. It was a torn ACL, which I get. He now has 3 torn ACLs, and that is cause for concern. But it's not like he's just getting all these little he's not soft tissue injury here, pulling a hammy. Oh, there's the shoulder. Now it's the hand. Like Joey Bosa, he's just picking up every injury he can. Really, that was kind of Bradley Chubb in Denver. In Miami, he had 1 injury. It was the torn ACL, and he played every other game.
Right.
And so I'm not as worried about that as others. And again, he was much more productive in Miami than Bosa was his last few years in LA. And I also think part of it is going to be we're going to have hopefully a full year of Michael Hoyt, which means we won't have to play Chubb as much. We played Bosa way too much earlier in the year because it was just Bosa and Groot because we couldn't really trust Epinesa too much. And then after that, it was it was like
Brandon
Jackson wasn't able to get any, was still developing. And it's like, so there was no depth. So we were playing him so much. I think this year you'll have Landon Jackson at least taking a step. I don't know what it'll look like, but you'll have Groot and you'll have a pretty close to healthy. I think Hoyt can at least play, if not week 1, by the end of September, he'll be playing for the Bills. Achilles don't take as long as they have in years past. And I think it'll take pressure off Chubb. We won't have to play him as much. And also, Chubb's also a much better run defender. How many times did we see Joey Bosa get caught in a blender or lose contain? The same thing happened with AJ Epinesa. It kind of took Groot's value out of the game because what is Groot so good at? Defending the run and containing and compressing the pocket. Well, what teams started doing is, all right, well, you want to stay right there? I can't get outside Groot. I'll just run outside the other guy, and it worked every time. And I think you get someone like Chubb who can also do the same things at maybe not the same level as Groot. I think Groot's a top 3 to 5 run defender, edge, containment. Like basically, if Groot could get 12 to like 15 sacks a year, he's Max Crosby. That's the difference between Groot and Max Crosby. As Max Crosby gets the sack production, Groot doesn't. Literally everything else, they're pretty much on par with. Obviously, sacks and getting after the quarterback's the most important, and that's why he's not as good of a player. Yeah, that's why he's also not getting paid nearly as much. But that's kind of like what Groot is. He's so good at everything else, and he's a decent pass rusher. He's not bad at it. So I think you get him someone like Chubb on the other side. Yeah, he's not the twitchy, bendy guy, but he is he's produced, 19 sacks or 20 sacks, I think it was 19 or 20, whatever, his last 2 years.
And he was leading all edge rushers that were drafted like 26 years and above, leading the most in sacks in the last 2 years and getting paid the least out of those group of guys too.
Yeah. And he's like the 31st highest paid edge rusher. And then if you include take out like guys on rookie deals, that's like comparing to who he's getting paid. Or because like if there's guys in rookie deals with better value, because again, it's a rookie deal. But I just think that the Chubb signing is going to work out really well. And I'm just excited to see Groot. I think they're going to play him. I think him changing the numbers kind of also a sign of it. He's going to play a lot of that 9-tech outside linebacker. And I think they could create a really, really fun duo from them both blitzing from on our 5-man rushes. Just thinking about it, a 5-man rush where you can go Chubb on the right side, and then you have Oliver next to him, and then Deion Walker is the nose tackle, TJ Sanders next to him, and then Groot on the left side. Yeah, I think that could be a really, really good 5. And we don't need a 15 sack guy. I think people are getting misconstrued. Look at the Seahawks this last year. Their leading sack guy was 7. The Eagles the year before was 8. What they did have was a bunch of guys who get after the passer. And so you just couldn't really, there was no one to focus on, no one really to double team. It's like, all right, you're going to double team this guy. Everyone else is going to have these one-on-ones, and they can win their one-on-ones. If you have 5 guys who can win one-on-ones, you're going to be able to create a pretty nasty pass rush. And that also doesn't include how you're going to be able to use Michael Hoyt. He's going to be that joker role. He can come off the 9-tack. Jim Leonard's going to have a field day using him. And I'm really excited for where this pass rush is at compared to getting Bradley Chubb. And I think is also partly why I'm not super high on going edge early, just because I think I want to get a piece, like a depth piece, so we don't have to use our top guys as much. but I don't want to get like a guy I don't want to reach a little bit to get someone in the first or second round because I trust the guys we have. And I think next year is the better value of, all right, go and get the guy, someone that you think will turn into a 12 to 15 sack guy. And he can kind of be the future there because Bradley Chubb, after this contract's up, is probably going to be pretty close to wash and towards the end of his career. Like, he doesn't have many good years left, but I think he still has a few, and that's all we need.
Right, exactly. And the Michael Hoyt thing, because I've been a semi-advocate, which I'm now almost talking with both sides of my mouth at this point, with Michael Hoyt, is I do believe it will take him throughout the regular season to gain his strength and get up to, it is magic.
Yeah.
Get to 100%. But the beautiful thing about that is that now, like, the way that we've figured out how the NFL has been evolving in the past years is that coaching matters a lot in these past 3 years when it comes to calling plays on the offense and defensive side. And when it comes to Michael Hoyt on the defense side, he is that piece that can go unblocked at times as long as you know what to call and how Michael Hoyt can run it. And that's a beautiful thing about it. I mean, Michael McDonald won the Super Bowl because of his defensive play calling. A lot of when it comes to now, the difference between pre-snap and post-snap is almost every single play. You're playing half man on one side, half zone on another side. You're switching from cover 2 to cover 6, so on and so forth. So the chess match of play calling is so important. And I think that we have the defensive line pieces to make that work in simulated pressures, in creepers. And that's who Michael Hoyt is, which is incredible. And then what we can do with our linebackers. Dorian Williams last year was we'll jump into linebackers. I have the available linebackers now. Dorian Williams was somebody that was kind of learning how to pass rush last year. He never really had a pass rush bag, but we started using him because we weren't able to generate pressure with 4, what McDermott wanted to do. So he did get creative in a lot of good ways. So the interesting point will be, how we haven't really addressed linebacker at all. And when you mention free agents in the linebacker class that's coming in, because the linebacker class is deep, we have to remember that, Terrell Bernard was hurt last year. So if we draft a linebacker in round 1 and everybody's like, well, why did we draft the linebacker at 1 when he's going to be linebacker 3 or 4? Well, Terrell Bernard was hurt the whole entire year. And guess who had to fill in? Linebacker 3 and linebacker 4. So even if you're getting a season of a rookie of 40% snap share for the whole season because of injuries happen week by week, month by month, he's going to see the field pretty much no matter what. So he will get those playing times. He's not just going to take like a redshirt college year. So when it comes to the linebacker position, where it's obviously bare now, you have Andreessen, you have you have Dorian Williams, you have Terrell Bernard with free agents. Where is your confidence in Joe Andreessen and Dorian Williams, where they fit, how you would address the linebackers right now, rolling into then the draft?
So I just think Andreessen's a special teams guy. I don't have a lot of faith in him playing linebacker too much. And then Dorian Williams, I think he should be a run specialist, blitzing specialist only. I don't want to see him in coverage at all because he's not good at it. I think he'd be the linebacker 3, but it kind of is like last year, Philadelphia took off-ball linebacker with their first-round pick and Jihad Campbell. It was kind of just the value. He was the best player on the board, and he didn't play a whole lot. The reason he took him is because Nakobe Dean was a upcoming free agent and had injury concerns. So when Nakobe Dean did get injured, that's when Jihad got to play. But he didn't play a whole lot. But you don't see people really complaining about that pick because they saw the thought process. He was going to leave in a year, and now Jihad's going to. He had a full year of development, got some playing time. Now you got Jihad Campbell and Zach Bond as your off-ball linebackers. That could smell pretty good. And I think you could do a similar thing in Buffalo. I think the best route to fix this, like my ideal, I guess, if I could just make this happen no matter what. If I'm on Madden and I'm just forcing my way to make this happen, I'm signing Shaq Thompson. I'm trading out of pick 26 to the top of the second round, and I am drafting Jacob Rodriguez. I think that is the best value play. And then I think you run with your off-ball linebackers being Shaq and Terrell Bernard. I think Terrell's definitely a starter. You give Shaq a 1-year deal. And then after the year, it's like, all right, you let Shaq walk. He's getting up there in age. I think he's still going to have another decent year left. He's already said he wants to come back here. He's got the Carolina ties and obviously was here last year. So that obviously will entice Bean. And I think that would be your – and if Shaq or Bernard, who have injury concerns, get injured, you put one of them in there. And then Dorian, I trust to start. I think he can play in a pinch, but I just don't really want to see him there much in coverage. And I think those are kind of your two starters are Shaq and Bernard, and your backups are Dorian and Jacob Rodriguez or CJ Allen or Jake Goldie or whoever you end up taking. Because I would be pretty surprised if they don't take a linebacker decently early in this draft. And again, then next year it's okay, Shaq, thank you for your service. You can walk, and maybe Bernard doesn't look very good. And you're like, he can't stay healthy. All right, then you draft another linebacker. The guy Jacob Rodriguez hypothetically is a starter next to Bernard. You draft a linebacker day 2 next year, maybe, and then he can be Bernard's backup for a year. If Bernard continues to have injury issues, then you cut Bernard. After Bernard, the way his contract is set up, it was like a 2-year. There was a 2-year out, and that would be after 2027. So it might be you might draft a linebacker the first 3 rounds this year, and you might do it again next year. So you can kind of engage Bernard's, because when Bernard can be healthy, he's very good. We saw in 2023, it was a very good linebacker, like Pro Bowl level.
I expect him to be healthy.
He did just have surgery on his ankles to try and fix the problems he's been having. Right. So I'm hoping that he will have healthy ankles, and that will lead to him being able to move a lot better. And because that's what it was. He just wasn't able to move well. I also think being paired with someone like a Shaq Thompson, a little bit bigger, guy that is better in coverage, because Milano kind of last year, once it got to a point, Milano was not that great in coverage. That's kind of how you got to beat him. He was still good against the run. He was a good blitzer, but we never got Bernard to play with prime Milano. And also, I think just the way they were using Bernard just was putting too much on his plate for his size. I think you can put someone like Shaq who can kind of take that. I know in a 3-4, they don't really have middle, and then like wheel linebackers is kind of more like 2 middle, but you still have one play the strong side and one play, even though there's 2 middle, you have one play strong and one play the weak side. I guess Shaq could play the strong side, and then Bernard could play the weak side, both middle linebackers.
Right.
And I think you could use him that way, where Bernard can kind of use his, if he has healthy ankles, his quickness and his ability to shoot right off the ball while not having to read as much. Because when he has to sit back and read, a lineman can get to him. So it kind of struggles. Shaq's a little bit bigger, so he can hold those blocks up better. And I think that could work. And Bernard being weak side, you could mix him in with some blitzes. And I think Leonard can get really creative with that. And I think that would be the best way to go about the linebacker core. You don't have to spend too much money. You got to spend one draft pick. Yeah, it's higher capital, but I think it fixes the linebacker. And at least you get one pretty confident long-term answer in Rodriguez, and you hope Bernard can kind of get back to the 2023 form.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I'm keeping in the back of my head Dorian Williams potentially starting or competing with a draft pick, because it's just because it's been slow rolling in the linebacker. I think he could handle inside linebacker, especially he's on his final year. So we're basically getting a contract year out of Dorian Williams, and he has improved year over year. He's such a hard hitter. He's good in the run.
For sure.
I would be curious if Bean and Leonard talked and they were like, okay, well, he can compete for the inside linebacker job. I guess he could compete with Shaq, but the issue is if we're signing Shaq, Shaq has said countless times, I want to start. I want starting money, this and this and this. So
I want him to start too. So
right, that'd be a deterrent for Shaq Johnson to come back here. But just the limited moves tends me to believe that they're really thinking. I think Andreessen can play off ball better in a 3-4. I think that Dorian Williams would fit better in a 3-4 inside linebacker role. I would be curious to see how they would address it in the draft. We have to sign. I'd assume we'd sign one more linebacker no matter what. Who we sign and then how we attack the draft would probably be the biggest thing. And the deepness, even if we don't sign him round 1, we trade back, we don't even get, like, let's say we trade back and get an edge, which is like bottom 3 worst case scenarios for me. if we don't go linebacker, it's deep enough to get a day 3 linebacker that can compete.
Red Murdoch.
Red Murdoch. Yeah. If he doesn't go top 100, but I think that's just kind of my Western New York talking that he's a top 100. But he's so good.
We thought Sean Dolak was going to be a 4th or 5th round pick, and he was undrafted. So
that was the NFL's fault. Let's be real.
Well, yeah. But still, like, unless you're like mid-majors, unless they get first-round hype, you tend to fall off.
Exactly.
It's either mid-majors or either they're complete studs and they're first-round picks or they're day 3. There's not many day 2 mid-majors, I feel like, or if they are, they're early seconds. Or you don't really see many round 3. Round 3, you just get your power force guys that, all right, they play decent at good competition.
Right. You got your couple like Quinyon Mitchell. You know, you got Toledo.
He was a first round pick when you're just that level of guy. Like Emmanuel McNeil Warren from Toledo this year, Khalil Mack from way back when. I remember watching him at the Bill Stadium once when he played for UB, and he didn't do anything because they just put 3 guys on him the entire game. It kind of sucked. I was like 10 years old, and I'm like, I want to see Khalil Mack kill these people, and they just triple teamed the entire game. I'm like, this sucks.
It's interesting. It's interesting. You know, I don't think that this is exactly what we predicted because we did think that they were going to spend a good amount of money on the defense to kind of help Jim Leonhard. And I'm not saying that I'm not taking this as a negative connotation at all. It's more or less, I think what we expected and then what we got was much different. But I really do like the moves in CJ Gardner-Johnson and Bradley Chubb. I think the extensions are huge. Dawson Knox, I think Connor McGovern is one of the most important pieces when it comes down to keeping that offensive line intact and ability with Alec Anderson moving to left guard and then remaining that basically, 5 out of 5 intact. I know David Edwards was a super high IQ left guard, but Alec Anderson's been in the system. So we're still, I would have thought that it would have been a disservice to not use our incredibly deep offensive line when we needed to use it this year, instead of going to pick up a high-ticketed item in the guard department to revamp it back to normal. I think if you didn't do that, then that's a disservice to what you're developing. You should be able to have those deep guys come in and fill that role to get cheaper.
The people saying go sign Wyatt Teller is just kind of frustrating. It's like, no. Yeah, was Wyatt Teller better than Alec Anderson? Probably, but maybe not. I mean, Alec Anderson, he just hasn't gotten the chance, but when he has played, and those spot starts, he played tackle very well. He was our starting tackle and he ran for 250 yards in Pittsburgh. Like he's played tackle well. He's played guard well. He's even the spot situations for McGovern. Played center fine. He maybe had some snapping issues, but like he was blocking fine. Like when he has played, he's been fine. He just hasn't really had that much chance to play. And 100%. I think that's a position where you go cheap. You try and develop. That's how we got David Edwards. He was super cheap, and we developed him into something. And Alec Anderson clearly enjoys being in Buffalo, and I think that just kind of bodes well. You have to be able to develop cheap guys on cheap contracts so you can afford to play the big guys. And I think Bills fans they thought, being in the past just nickels and dimes, so they expected a lot of like $10 million contracts. This year, I think Bean went a little bit different. I think he took the big swing for DJ Moore. That's a lot of money. Granted, only like $7 million this year, but that's 25 next year. I think even though some people thought maybe he's backed against the wall, like he's going to get fired if it doesn't work out, I don't think
that's kind of the mentality I think a lot of people have, right?
I think he's more operating in a 2-year window. I think he's operating that he at least gets the second year because it's the new coaching staff. Because a lot of the things, like him talking about this draft class, they were asking about it, and he was bringing up next year's class. He, at the combine, was basically saying that this draft class is not as good as next year's. And I think that's why he was fine with giving up a second-round pick for Moore, because he doesn't value pick 60 that much in a class like this. And he would have rather given up a second this year than next year because he values next year's class more. And I think that's definitely – or it may have been like a third and a fifth, a third this year and a fifth next year. And he's like, no, I'd rather give up a second this year than that. Like, because he just doesn't really value – he wants to keep all of the picks for next year, which is possible. And I think like the Bradley Chubb, that was also a big swing. We got him at a good value. Connor McGovern, that was even though it's a re-sign, that's a big swing. He's a top 5 paid center. So we didn't do as many of those mid-tier contracts. Like last year, it was a bunch of like $8 to $12 million the last couple of years. I think this year he was like, I'm going to take a couple of big swings and then I'm going to focus on the draft. And I'm going to trust the guys we have in the room. I'm going to let all these free agents walk. They can get some contracts. Hopefully, we can get some comp picks for 2027. I think that's why the Bradley Chubb signing is also another good thing. It doesn't play into the comp bingo because he was cut.
Right.
And so right now we're getting a fifth from Edwards. Who knows if what Joey Bosa signs for, or if Trey White gets something decent, or if AJ Epinesa gets something decent. I don't know exactly. DaQuan Jones. These guys aren't probably getting huge contracts. Maybe Shaq Thompson does land a 1-year, $10 million contract somewhere. These start building up.
Joey Bosa can get something.
They could combine. We might get a fifth, a sixth, and a seventh or so. That's 3 extra picks. Granted, they're end of the round, but those are the picks. If we're sitting at 27 and we want to move up to 23 or 24 because there's someone falling a bit we want to get, boom. Or at the deadline, here's someone on a disgruntled team that's asking out. Well, you have to eat this contract. We'll give you a fifth. Boom.
Right. That's Bean's bread and butter. That's why, everybody. I think everybody outside of Buffalo believes that Bean lucks into his day 3 picks, and it's too consistent to luck into all his day 3 picks. And he consistently gets, other than the last 2 years, 5th, 6th, and 7th, to move around the draft consistently to get the guys that they want instead of settling for the 2nd or 3rd bucket of people. He doesn't really, I don't think he has many buckets in day 3. I think they're small cups that he wants to make sure that he hits each round. And he's willing to move around consistently.
Or in 2024 when we traded, I think we traded a 5th round pick to get Chicago's 4th, and then they ended up being a top 10 pick, and so it was we ended up getting a pick 109 or whatever, and that pick team turned into Deion Walker.
Right, beautiful.
Granted, we traded it away and then traded back for it, but if we didn't have that pick, we would have had to give up our other 4th round pick. And then we would have never been able to trade up back for Deion Walker to begin with.
Right.
So, again, stuff like that. We hit on Deion Walker by trading out of a 2024 pick. It was just, all right, Bean didn't see the value. All right, Chicago, you want to take this guy? Sure, go ahead. And it's just having more picks, even if they're day 3. Having 7 or 8 day 3 picks, I think, is extremely underrated. Because, one, you probably don't want to draft 8 day 3 guys, especially if you're a competitive team. Not that many are going to make the roster.
Right.
But what you can do is you see a hidden gem in the 4th or 5th round, you give up your 6th to move up and get that hidden gem before. Or in the 1st round, you move up a couple spots. And it's you can nickel and dime these picks around to get the players you want. And while still having these picks to take the shots, because you want to have a couple of day 3 guys. It's where you hit on those late. And that's basically how the Rams, Puka Nacua was a comp pick. Cameron Kitchens was a comp pick. Quentin Lake was a comp pick. I was trying to find if I could find exactly every comp pick and the draft pick is to see which ones they traded away or not. But in the last couple of years, they've got studs from comp picks. The Eagles have been doing it for years. The Jaguars GM just came out and literally said it. He's I'm not re-signing these players. We're trying to get the cap. We'll go play with the comp picks at the deadline or in free age or the preseason, and we'll just try and replenish a roster that way. It's risky. Granted, Bean doesn't always get a whole lot of comp picks, but that's just because we just re-signed most of our players. It's pretty rare that we let good players walk. David Edwards, Jermaine Edmonds, and Leonard Floyd and Gabe Davis, the only players I can think of in recent memory we've gotten comp picks for, and none of them were that great at their next location. Maybe David Edwards can change that, but it's usually Bean's done a pretty good job of keeping his own good talent, so we haven't played that as much as other teams, but it is a good strategy to load up on those picks because it helps you be able to move around the draft consistently.
I agree. All right, before we jump into the 7-round mock, I do believe when it comes to, so when we talk about the defensive line, right now I have interior defensive line. Do you believe that we should add a nose tech in free agency before the draft hits?
Do I believe it? Yes. Do I think it's going to happen? No.
Okay.
I would give me DJ Reader I've been asking for Sebastian Joseph Day since forever, and I want DJ Reader, but I just don't even think about it because I'm clearly they just don't value it, or they just want Deion to play it, which I disagree with, but I'll trust because leaving my trust in them has led to good things. This roster is better than most Bills fans think.
I get it. I don't think it is a smart move personally. I really liked a little bit of what Fedarian Mathis brought last year. I think he brought some good qualities to it, and we signed him again. But I agree with you. I don't think Deion Walker is a nose tackle. His flaw in Kentucky was interior anchor and be able to defend the run. Mind you, he got better at defending the run in his first year in the NFL, which I think was surprising to the whole entire NFL community that he was able to grow on that. But the issue is that I think he's best at defending the run when he's moving to the outside. If he's moving laterally, he can keep his feet moving
he's so quick.
And go. The interior, if he's going for defending the run, is he's trying to penetrate and go for a tackle for loss while he's on a one-on-one tackle. So I'm concerned about Leonard and Bean thinking that he can play nose tackle. So before we hit this 7-round mock, let's pick somebody that makes sense in a contract that we signed as a nose tackle, and then we'll hit a 7-round mock. So your top target is DJ Reader.
The reason I'm going to say when it comes to Deion, I'm going to trust Bean is because I hated the Deion pick. And trusted Bean, and it turned out well. Yeah. So I was mad. I remember me and Alex were both not happy at it all. It was funny. I was in this group chat with my college friends, and I was just so mad that it's like when we took TJ Sanders, I'm like, no, take a big body defensive tackle.
Oh, I didn't like TJ Sanders.
And then we take Deion Walker. And my friends go, oh, there's the big body tackle we want. I go, no, anyone but him. Yeah. He was the only one I didn't want.
He's missing the nose tackle legs.
I know I sounded like such a hypocrite there because I'm like, I want a big body guy, and it's like beggars can't be choosers. But hey, it worked out at least with the Deion Walker side, not the TJ. Maybe TJ, he showed some flash at the end of the year, but he still has a lot to prove.
He does for sure. And so when it comes down to it, he's going to be a great piece, I think, because he can. I mean, Kentucky in 2023, he was working as a 9 tech at some spots, which is absolutely insane. So I think it's a disservice to Deion Walker to put him at a consistent nose tech. So I really hope that Leonard's going to use him as a versatility piece, which works well in how we're going to operate, especially because when we're looking at Rousseau, which I agree with you, is going to be mainly an outside linebacker and not a 5 tech. I know that the split is, does he play 5 tech or does he play outside linebacker? All the news coming around is that it's outside linebacker, which I do agree after watching some tape on him that outside linebacker is a better fit. And I think we can get 10 plus sacks out of him the way he's out there. So when it comes down to it, then when we look at 5 tech, you got Fedarian at the nose tackle. You probably put Deion Walker at 5 tech with Ed Oliver and TJ Sanders at 4I. And then that's where it starts getting interesting on the interior. Dwayne Carter being maybe that 5 tech and then getting a nose tackle, operating that way is interesting.
My thought is I bet they might use Deion as like a pass rushing nose tack, and then Fedarian as like the run defending nose tack. And I think, and then to the Groot point, it's just, I think it kind of just makes sense because Groot's not very bendy. When you're rushing from like a 5, defending the run, I kind of hope they have Groot as like a 5 tech. I think he's a better run defender from there. But as a pass rusher, he's not super bendy. So I'd rather have him from the 9 tech where it's more of like a straight line to the quarterback. You don't have to bend around an angle. You're kind of running straight at him. I think he can kind of use his bull rush and his ability to disengage and hold container, I think can work really well there. So it's kind of always been my thought was use him as a run defending 5 tech. You would see occasionally McDermott would do it last year, and it worked really, really well. He had a couple of good plays in the Houston game, the Pittsburgh game, where when they'd occasionally go to the odd man front, they'd throw him in there to run defense. And I guess run defense, you have him as the 5 tech, maybe TJ as the 4I, Fedarian as the nose tackle, maybe Dwayne Carter rotating in, and then you pass rush. You have Deion as the nose tack, Eddie as the 4I, and then maybe you could throw a couple people. Maybe you throw TJ Sanders over there. Maybe that's where Dwayne Carter slides, and you throw one of them at the 5, and then you have Chubb and Groot obviously is the 9 techs. Maybe you put Hoyt in that position is like because he could probably rush from any spot on the line, and I think could be productive. So I think there's a lot of moving around situations they could definitely use it like I'm excited to see how they do it. The new defense has me very excited.
I agree. And I'm interested to see where TJ Sanders ends up is super interesting because he has good length. He has over 33-inch arms. He's got over 10-inch hands. So his length can go into that 5-tech role. And when he was working the inside, you saw him in run defense in the interior, drop a knee at points to try and defend the run and stuff, really working on his anchor as well. And then in college, he was known for being an interior pass rusher. So to add that to a game, if he's taking his offseason to learn that and maybe take that 5-tech role, because he does have that solid length to it, would be an interesting way. I think he might have to gain a little bit of weight depending on what he was playing at. But I think that's interesting when it comes down to it. All right. Well, you ready to hit a mock?
Yeah.
We got 182 people watching. We appreciate you for watching. If you could hit the like and subscribe button, that's how the little guys get through. We would very much appreciate it. What we will do this mock is we will trade back in the first round. 100%. We'll do that because let's see what capital we can get, especially because the free agency was barer than most were. I'm not trying to make a negative connotation, but I definitely thought we'd fill it a little bit more. So let's pick up those.
If I had to be real, unless someone's trading up with us to get like a quarterback, I think it's going to have to be a multiple trade down situation like we did in 2024. But I think instead of trading down 2 times, I'm going to be surprised if Bean does it 3 or 4. It's like, I'm going to keep someone wants to move up 2 spots. I'll move down those 2 spots. I'll continue to move down those 2 spots until I'm sitting at pick 38 and I've moved my 2 5ths and 6 into a 3rd and a 4th or something like that. And just, I would not be surprised if he does something like that.
Yeah, and I think it's going to have to be on the fly because I think just like Brandon Bean's thinking is there's a lot of GMs who think that the picks 35 to 100 are kind of like all bunched up together. So it'll have to be Buffalo Bills are on the clock. You get phone calls because there's a certain player that's there that teams didn't expect. And then you just on the fly move back where you can and then just go from there and pick up.
And I think Bean will basically just keep doing that. And then there's probably like a group of people. He's like, all right, I kind of like these 5 players, but I like them all the same. I'll just keep moving back until there's only 1 remaining, and then I'll just draft him. I wouldn't be like, I've done that on mocks before. I'm like, all right, I like these. I'll just move back 1 or 2. Okay, 3 of them are still available. Okay, 2 of them are still available. All right, I'll move back a pick. All right, one's about. All right, I'll take them. Boom, done.
Right. No, I agree.
Jeremiah loved the Jets at 2.
Yo, the hype is crazy. But it is what it is.
Who do we got for trades?
Looking through here real quick. Yeah. So Jeremiah Love going 2, Arvell Reese going 3, Steele for Cardinals. Sonny Styles at 4 is not bad.
Robert Saleh would be licking his chops for that.
Yeah, for real.
That would be his Fred Warner.
Mekhi Lemon goes to the Panthers. Keldrick Falk.
I actually kind of like they have their boundary guys. You put that. I think they'll kind of really round out their room nice. You get Pat is the X, Coker is the Y, and Lemon is I think would be a really good slot guy.
No, I agree. All right, so the pick before us went TJ Parker, which is an interesting one. So this looks like there's a lot of options open. If the draft were to fall this way, this is where you trade back because a lot of people did not get picked right there. So this is kind of a best case trade back scenario in my head.
This is a scenario where I think we might trade back with Miami. Does Miami want Ty Simpson? They have 3 third-round picks. I think there's a way we could try and go like 43, 87, and 90 and give up like maybe 166.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, it's going to work. Yeah. I mean, it's 90%. So, like, I try not to do the trade accepted, especially while we're live, when it's like finagling or forcing it. But 90% means more than likely. We'll go
here, but instead of 166, let's do 220 then. Let's give ourselves a little more value. Oh, because that's not even up to date with our Teron Johnson trade anyway. So, yeah, we'll throw 220 in there.
Okay, perfect. All right, we'll run this. Let's do it. So now we're trading all the way back to the mid-second. So, but we're picking up 3/3. So we're going to be picking 87, 90, and 91.
What I would do is maybe we might trade down and then trade back up. So since you don't have it on like super turbo, maybe let it go through a little bit and then like pause it at like 35 or something and just kind of see, is there someone we really like? Maybe like pause it at like the Titans at like 35.
Well, actually,
Right
let's pick. Let's pick, right? We'll pick a 43.
Oh no! Oh, you would have been Conception went at like 38.
Yeah, that's crazy. Conception is falling for no reason. Well, I would have traded up for that.
Oh, okay, I know who I want.
That's
Yeah,
all right.
that's
I
why
talk
I'm
about,
like,
I talk about Casey Concepcion way too much, so I need to take
That's-
a break.
that's why we should have. Yeah, we should have. I would have traded. I would have traded up for Casey. Casey at like 36.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's-
god! I
that's
saw who I wanted. It's already the guy I've been talking about this entire episode.
Right. All right, so let's look at this linebacker junction.
Yeah, we can
Listen,
obviously
this
look.
is-
I
this
want
is
Jacob.
where-
I am a huge Jacob Rodriguez fan. I would, if Brandon Beam took him at 26, I would not be upset. I just think we can get a little. I think we can get him at the top of the second, so I'd rather trade down and then draft him. But
Okay, that's great.
if Bean's like, I don't think he'll be there at like 34, and he wants to take him at 26. Yeah, fine by me. Because the biggest issue with Rodriguez was his athleticism, and he proved at the combine it's not an issue. And his tape is. He was the best player in college football last year, the most productive player in college football. If he didn't play such an invaluable position, he would have won the Heisman.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree. It's linebacker position, because positional value and the way that the game is evolving is so different, is so difficult to figure out, especially body types. You can really tell height and weight when it comes to linebackers and how they operate. Like we've sat through McDermott's, Milano and Bernard, which love both those guys, but sub 230, both of them on a consistent basis. We saw where the damage was done when it comes down to that. And, Jacob Rodriguez sitting there at 231. So he's around that area, but he's 6'1". So at 6'1", he's kind of built more in that.
Yeah, he's a little stockier.
In the strong, stocky position. Ran the 4.57. He's got a 38.5-inch vert, a 10-foot broad with 11 turnovers. 7 fumbles and 4 interceptions is insane in one season for a linebacker in that
And it wasn't like it was some schmuck conference. He did it in the Big 12.
Right, exactly.
And I think didn't he have a turnover against Oregon in the CFP too?
Yep.
Yeah. So
100%.
he was doing it against the top 5 to 10 team in the country. It didn't matter who they were playing. He was the biggest reason why Texas Tech was undefeated.
100%. 100% agree. All right, so we're going to go Jacob Rodriguez. We like him. If I were to pick another one, I would go – I think Josiah Trotter is 43 worthy at 20 years old with the bloodlines. I would take that as my number 2 linebacker. Jake Golday is very good. He's more of a Sam to me.
Yeah, I think Trotter definitely has, a bit more upside.
Yeah.
But I think Rodriguez is safer than I think we're
More
guaranteed
team-ready
at
for
least get a
Buffalo.
quality. I think we're at least going to get a quality linebacker. Are we going to look to trade up?
Yeah, right? We considering? Let's see who's available.
Let's see who's available. I don't know how we get to the who's available.
We'll go through that. Jadarian Price at 59. Golday goes there. Lawrence. Christian.
There's Brazel.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, PFF's kind of done with this. They don't let you
Check the
know who's available.
Right.
So I think we'll just not trade up.
Well, let's do it. But again, this is a best case scenario for Buffalo. You're picking still now 3 picks in the top 100.
And 5. And no, we did 4 picks in the top
4
100.
picks in the top 100.
Yeah. We could literally we go Daryl Jackson here if we want. Let's see the safeties.
Yeah.
Corleone. Who do you like more between Daryl Jackson and Corleone? I see Daryl Jackson's been rising up people's boards a lot.
Yeah, I like Daryl Jackson better. I have a top 50 on Daryl Jackson. Mind you, that comes with he developed very well in 2025. And the difference in 2024 and 2025, he developed like crazy. He looked more technically sound. But really the kind of allure of Daryl Jackson is he's probably one of the biggest frames that you can get at that nose tackle position, and he handles the nose tackle. He's got 36-inch arms. He's a mammoth of a human being. So what you are drafting Daryl Jackson for is a backup role turning into a startup role, which I think that's pretty okay. Dante Corleone is an actual outlier in my opinion. I don't think I've ever seen a 6-foot flat, 348-pound nose tackle operate. Like that's bowling ball style, and he's now had injuries throughout his career. Like if he would have tested in this in the pro days and the combine, I think that would have showed him a little bit better. But now that he had an injury, he had the blood clots 2 years ago, which I don't really take that for a big grain of salt because blood clots, he's good from that now. But if he had done the drills in the offseason, I think that would have done a lot for him.
Yeah. So do we want to just go? I mean, we have picks 90, 91. Do we want to just take Jackson right here and then go at other positions? Yeah. Because, again, we're right up again.
Right.
And we weren't going to take Slaughter or Roush, so that didn't really matter. Yeah, I think we go our boy Genesis Smith.
Genesis Smith is our option. That's a center fielder. I will, his missed tackle rate is rough, and he tackles high only, and it's arm tackle. So he definitely needs to learn how to tackle. Let's say if he
he should have learned from Geno Stone.
Yeah, right. Because at this point, the way that we handled the safety market, the chances of a safety starting is not the greatest. So if we want to take the best range free safety for Cole Bishop, it is 100% Genesis Smith.
Do we want to kind of do like how they have it this year, more of a hybrid where they can move them each around and go with Zakee Wheatley?
Yeah, that's an interesting one as well, because Zakee Wheatley can operate in that. He would be like the Gardner Johnson, right? Stepping in like after Gardner Johnson is gone. Wheatley would basically be a good transition in the style of play in Zakee Wheatley. Same with Buck Clark.
The more I think about it, I honestly would personally I'd rather have Smith so we could have that true free safety. But look at the way we've always done it. Micah Hyde wasn't really a true free safety, and then we had Bishop and we had Taylor Rapp and Bishop and DeMar. We've never really had a true free safety. I think Bean granted Poyer and Hyde were here before Bean, but I think Bean partly from McDermott and now this year I don't think they want a true free safety. I think the fact that we signed Gardner Johnson and Geno Stone over like Kevin Byard. Right. I think makes me think that they want a more hybrid. So I think Wheatley actually makes a little more sense because I think that's just the style they're going for.
I'm with you. And Wheatley, which it's always so crazy, the rankings. Like, I'm not going off this rankings, but what's been kind of like the general consensus and things along those lines, Wheatley was a top 50 pick after this college season ended. And now he's kind of floating in that late day too, which is crazy. It doesn't make any sense. The season's over. You have the tape. I'm not sure why he's dropping, but he's right around that 50 to 55 talent. So I think this is a steal here for sure.
Okay. Then we're right up again. Maybe this is where we could go edge. IOL.
We should entertain the interior offensive line or edge. I am good. Jayshon Barham was the only edge that Buffalo visited with the combine. He played weak side linebacker for a year. He played Mike for a year, and now he's an edge. So the versatility is somebody that I think that Barham, not like Leo Chanel, because Leo Chanel would be more of that typical linebacker, while Barham would be more of a typical edge. But that utility piece that you could use in certain situations while being a full-time edge is something that I'm interested in Barham.
Here's my thought. I saw that there was an Iowa guard available, and I love Iowa offensive linemen because they're just always good.
Let me see.
I haven't studied offensive line too much, but I just saw two Iowa offensive linemen at the top, and I'm like, yes, give me Iowa offensive linemen.
Logan Jones is a center. Bo Stevens is a good guard. Logan Jones is a full-time center. So I think with re-signing and then SVPG, we should. Man, I had such a high grade on Trey Zune, and now everybody's caught back up to him. Trey Zune is basically somebody that would overtake Alec Anderson's role, and that's kind of my guy. But Billy Schroth and Bo Stevens are both very good guards. I think that we could maybe entertain
Notre Dame guard. That also has a high hit rate too.
Right. We could attack those.
We could continue with the Kentucky Bills.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Farmer with a Farmer.
Yeah.
Let's go. I say we go Barham on this one. I do agree that sitting back on an edge, as well as, what is Javon Solomon going to do is something that's interesting as well. So let's go Barham and maybe entertain the day 3 for guard.
I definitely want to draft a day 3 guard for sure.
Agreed. And a day 3 corner.
Yes. a day 3 boundary corner, not a slot guy. I think we have it. I think we have 3 players that could play the slot if needed, with Bishop, Gardner Johnson, and D. Alford. So I think we're
Right.
and 4, because then you also have Hancock. I think Hancock is just the next Cam Lewis.
Right. Oh, 100%.
I think
All right,
when they
so-
said they had a plan for him, that was probably the plan all along.
Okay. I'm going to sell you on Takario Davis.
I
Starting there-
like Davis.
Yes. He is what? He's got 6'4", 200 pounds, quick guy, but he also has over 33-inch arms. So we're talking about a backup corner right now that's 6'4", 33-inch arms with crazy length and range
What
that can sit behind Benford.
what happened from 23 to 24? Injuries or something?
Injury,
Not healthy.
some nicks and injuries, and then he went from the transfer party. He was at Arizona, and then went to the
That's
transfer
because I was going to say I recognize the name. Now that you're
Yeah.
saying he's from Arizona, yep, that makes sense. I recognized his name from Arizona.
Last year in the draft, Takario Davis, before he decided to stay, I believe was like a top 75 guy. And then he went to Washington. The defense was okay. And then he got paired up next to Ephesians Prysock in Washington. And Ephesians Prysock is 6'4", 212 with the same amount of arm length. So there was like just 2 Stranger Thing guys on the outside. So it was weird. It was interesting to watch, but Takario Davis is a dog. Let's go with him.
All right, that works for me.
And then let's attack guard then at 163.
Yeah. We go guard, and then I'm trying to think what's another position we could attack.
Might as well
I
go.
know 228 what position to go. So I do it every mock. Kicker.
Eli Hyde. We need a fullback.
So we can go fullback at 166,
Yeah.
kicker at 228. No, because the way Bass contract set up, that he just basically took a pay cut and got rid of guarantees. I think that's showing they're open for a competition. I would not be surprised at all if we draft a guard or a kicker, because if he beats out Bass, then we get more spending money during the year. And Bean loves those couple mil.
100%. All right. If I'm going to go here, I think DJ Campbell might be the best guard option overall. I like Reed Adams. The Texas A&M line was underrated in its full aspect. I think he's got good size. Yeah. So if we get DJ Campbell, he's kind of can he go into Osiris Torrance's if we can't extend him in 2027?
Yeah. Which I can't extend. I kind of hope we don't. If he can get 20 mil in the open market, thank you for that comp pick. I appreciate your services.
Exactly. All right, let's go DJ Campbell. And then we're going to go. Yeah. So this is an interesting one. People are talking about consistently Max Bredesen as our fullback. And I think it's a good idea, to be honest with you. He's 6'2", 250, so he's stocky as hell. He can't play tight end. He's going into that fullback role.
Why can't he play tight end? He just can't run routes.
Yeah, average at best. So basically, when you put him on this side, you know that he's going in for a run play no matter what. So he would
But
be
at that point, wouldn't we just move Jackson Haas to it? Because isn't that just Jackson Haas? Or do you think Jackson Haas is a better route runner than this guy?
Jackson Haas is a better route runner for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. But Max Bredesen,
fullback.
yeah, Max Bredesen, I think, is ready to take that fullback role. I think he's a top tier blocker. I think, I never thought that Buffalo was going to replace Gilliam, because I thought it was going to be mainly Haas. But we were in on some fullbacks going through free agency, so I wouldn't be surprised if we attacked.
What about that Eli guy from Navy?
If you
Kyle
want
Juszczyk.
I will draft him right now. If you
Yes, let's go get our Kyle Juszczyk.
Perfect. He is just an incredible player. He's super.
Oh, he's right there.
Yep.
All right, and then we'll just end with kicker. And just because I want to have a Gators guy, let's go with Trey Smack.
I'm into it.
All right.
I mean, he's either the top 2 or
Yeah,
top
Florida
3
always
built,
Florida kickers are usually they produce kickers pretty well.
for sure. And then I mean, I think a kicker is a good idea. I don't think any kickers got drafted last year, did they?
There goes Red Murdoch in the 7th round.
Crazy. Just
Or 6th round, I guess. I didn't realize we were still in the 6th.
yeah. All right, let's go with kicker. Boom. Like 440, which is obviously.
Well, I just don't think they have. They
Yeah,
look at
they
like
don't.
it's 440, 441. They just throw them on there. They don't have legit rankings for them.
Yeah.
I do love this draft though, because we filled in every need.
This draft is very
We filled
good.
in every hole, and it's like going into next off season. It's like, because that's what I always try to look at a 2-year window. It's like, what are our needs this year and what are our potential needs next year? Potential needs next year is linebacker, safety, top tier edge, and interior offensive line. That's it. And wide receiver, I guess. So it's like, if we can get a linebacker and a safety day 2, boom, those aren't needs anymore. If we can get a wide receiver first 2 rounds, pair with DJ Moore, or I just realized we didn't draft a wide receiver.
We didn't, but that's okay. I still like it.
Yeah. I guess maybe in this scenario we trade up for a wide receiver next year. I don't.
Yeah. No, we just get Brandon Cooks, and that's it. I mean,
no, I'm saying next year's draft. Then, if we don't have our future wide receiver, maybe we go wide receiver instead of edge. But we do build the nastiest, one of the best D lines in the league.
Right, for sure. Yeah, I like this draft. It covers a lot of bases, and it sets us up for the championship.
Yeah, not trading up, I guess, for KC and getting him like 36 and still having that extra third. I think if we did that and then got like a linebacker and then maybe not that edge depth piece or whatever, I think that would have probably been the best. But
yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. Well, hey, that was a good shout.
Got a wide receiver.
All right. Well, we are a little bit over an hour. We got about 256. So if the 256 people that are watching, if you want to tag us with what you thought about that draft, let us know and what we can improve on. So then we can kind of go through. We're going to be doing drafts week by week. So
I agree with the statement, student.
What's that?
I agree with the statement from student.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, all right. Well, I appreciate everybody. If you could like and subscribe, that would be great. Again, that's how the little guys win. Yeah. Anything else, Miley? What you
go
got?
Bills, go Sabres.
March Madness, baby. Number 1 rule of March Madness. You cannot decline a bet just the whole week. You just
I have $10 on Florida win it all to win like 130 because obviously I'm a Gators fan.
Yeah.
So, and then I put FanDuel gave me a $5 bonus bet. So I threw it on like a bunch of favorites and put like 2 upsets in there to like sprinkle it up. It's like 5 bonus bets with like $100. Well, I have like Michigan State is one of their, I'm like, I'll just throw an upset. It's a bonus bet. They gave it to me. I'm like, sure, I'm not going to do this for $10 and they do it for $100.
100%.
I also decided, do you hear about that psychic that said the Sabres are going to the 2026 Stanley? Yeah. I decided to put my money on it. So if the Sabres win the Stanley Cup this year, the Bills win the Super Bowl next year, I put $20 on it, wins $6,000.
Brilliant. I'm going to do the same actually. 256 people watching, do that as well.
Yes. Put your money on that.
For sure. There you go. Then you got a little sleeper. Join the Do Champion sleeper pool. Yes, $25 per bracket and 10% goes to charity. So check that out as well.
The information is on our X page.
On the X page, yep.
The Do Champions X page.
Do Champions, hit it. Thank you all for watching. We appreciate you. Go Bills. See you around the bend. Thank you.